Hey soldiers, Elizabeth Holmes, the former Theranos CEO, she has been ordered to go ahead and report to prison. You know, she was given a wide degree of latitude because she was pregnant. Well, now she has given birth, and there's nothing stopping her from starting her sentence and, paying for what she was convicted of, which is defrauding the investing public, you and I. So let's get into this because we're just wrapping this up, coming full circle. We had talked about Elizabeth Holmes and her trial. And look, guys, this is an example of a lot of people say, oh, they're going to get away with it. They're rich. A lot of times, man, these prosecutors really make their careers off of, taking this kind of action. And it was certainly justified in this case. We don't have to speak about it in terms of alleged. She has been convicted. She's going to go off to prison. Guys, look, hit the subscribe button. Enlist. Become a soldier of finance. It's very easy. Let me know you did it simply by sending me a comment. Put in the comment section and I will salute you. Salute to all of the soldiers of finance out there. Now, I need you to do me a very quick favor. It will take you a millisecond. It'll be the best millisecond you ever spent in your life. Hit the thumbs up little icon. Hit that thumbs up. Let the YouTube algorithm know that this is the type of content that you believe should be shared with others. They should make it more widely visible for YouTube's viewers. Go ahead and do me that solid. Hit thumbs up. All right, Elizabeth Holmes. She's got to start her 11-year prison sentence 2 months after giving birth, despite her appeal. She's been appealing the conviction. Standard fare, right? Convicted Theranos fraudster Elizabeth Holmes must begin serving her 11-year prison term as scheduled later this month after a federal judge rejected her bid to remain free while she appeals. And look, the fact that she asked to remain free, again, standard. These people are going to see. But why not ask, right? Let them tell you no. And they certainly did. U.S. District Judge Edward Davila determined that even if Holmes won her appeal, challenging the admission of evidence regarding the accuracy of Theranos' blood testing machines, that was unlikely to result in a complete reversal of her sentence or a new trial, even if she did win the appeal. So they said, yeah, why don't you go ahead and start serving the sentence? And probably not a bad thing for her in terms of getting this out of the way. Can you imagine if they let her stay out? What would you want to do? I'm just curious. I know if it was me, I would want to just go ahead and just get this thing going and move on with my life as soon as possible. Now, contrary to her suggestion that the accuracy and reliability of her machines were issues central to her conviction, Ms. Holmes' misrepresentation of Theranos investors involved more than just whether Theranos technology worked as promised. And look, the reason why this is important because, guys, we're always talking about doing due diligence in order to determine whether or not whatever it is you're trying to invest in is legit. And they kind of weren't able to do accurate due diligence here because she was fudging the numbers, right? So because of that, you might have proceeded under a false pretense and invested in this company. So it's always important when messages like this are sent so that it can protect us. Because remember, we're not working with any of the types of high-level information that a lot of these Wall Street guys are working with. They might have had folk go to cocktail parties with her, kind of, sense, I think she's BS, and backed away from her. But mom and pop investors, all we got is, the annual reports and things of that nature. Davila's ruling capped a lengthy dispute between the feds and Holmes' legal team, which had argued she should remain free because her appeal would raise a substantial issue about her conviction that could result in a new trial. Last year, Holmes was sentenced to more than 11 years. And by the way, she's 39 years old. So she'll be 50, pushing 50 by the time she gets out. This is why, it is just not good to go out and engage in criminal activity, because at the end of the day, your most valuable non-renewable resource, okay? I'm not talking about your most valuable asset, which is your human body, mind, and spirit, but your most valuable and non-renewable resource is time. And when you get sentenced to prison, this is why I always say, guys, pay your taxes. I used to work in DC, and there was always some organization protesting taxation. Many of them would say, just protest by not paying. And I would say, wow, that's a terrible idea, considering the fact that the IRS has laws allowing it to come and literally kick your door in, take you out of there, and put you in jail for tax evasion. Okay? So, there are plenty of legal methods to lower your tax obligation. Perfectly legal, built into the tax code, not reserved for the uber rich. Okay, it's for all of us. So that's why I cover these things, because it's like, don't do this stuff. It's easy to get into trouble and so hard to get out. And this woman has been having some sleepless nights for years now as this thing has dragged on, and probably before that. She's no dummy. She knew, she suspected highly, I'm sure, that at one point this was going to catch up with her. I'm sure when she tried to get some sleep, lay her head on her pillow at night when she was still running that company and she knew what she was doing, I'm sure she thought to herself, this cannot continue forever. Last year, like I say, Holmes was sentenced to more than 11 years in prison for lying to Theranos investors about the efficacy of her once booming startup's blood testing technology and finances. The mother of two is slated to report to prison on April 27th. They tried to make a big deal of her being a mom and her being pregnant. Plenty of pregnant women in prison right now, okay? Plenty of moms in prison right now. So that was pretty thin gruel for them to try to rely on something like that to keep her, walking the streets and free. In his ruling, Davila also weighed in on the bombshell allegation from prosecutors. Now, we covered this, alleging that Holmes was a flight risk because she and her partner, William Evans, had booked a one-way trip to Mexico weeks before the jury reached a verdict in the trial. Come on, man. This is the argument that a lot of people have, and rightfully so, with Sam Bankman-Fried and the crimes that he's alleged to have committed, and the fact that he is currently out on bail, and the man has resources, okay? Some say billions, all right? Now, he's highly recognizable, but so is Elizabeth Holmes. And she tried to book a one-way ticket to Mexico. One way, emphasis on one way. What audacity. And her partner, I'm surprised they haven't, maybe they did, approach him about what were you getting ready to do? Harbor a fugitive, which also is a federal felony. Booking international travel plans for a criminal defendant, in anticipation of a complete defense victory is a bold move. And the failure to promptly cancel those plans after a guilty verdict is perilously careless in terms of its oversight. This is according to the judge. In a January court filing, the feds described the trip as an attempt to flee the country. Absolutely, a one-way ticket, and alleged that Holmes only nixed the plan after contacted with prosecutors. And if you were really intelligent, why not just, because look, your one-way ticket means you're only going one way, okay? Let's not try to make this something that it wasn't. She was planning on fleeing, okay? I think that's clear. But why not book a two-way ticket to kind of, obscure what you're really trying to do? But she had so much audacity that she said, nah, I'm just going to get a one-way ticket, and that's going to be that. In a January court filing, okay, the feds, of course, described it as an attempt to flee. Holmes' team pushed back, describing the claim as baseless. Baseless? Lady, you had a one-way ticket. That's the basis for the argument. At that time, her defense team asked Davila to strike it from the records. They said Holmes and Evans had booked a trip to attend a friend's wedding. The old a friend's wedding trick. The hubris of folk that are under these types of indictments is just breathtaking. Okay. She actually expects someone to believe that. Davila said he determined that Holmes' purchase of a one-way ticket, while ill-advised, was not an attempt to flee the country, as prosecutors had urged. All right, so this is what the judge said. He said, oh no, buying a one-way ticket is perfectly normal. She would have come back. She would have just bought another ticket to come back, right? Ms. Holmes has presented evidence that she made no attempt to flee. The court retains custody of her expired passport. Her appearance is secured by a $500,000 bond on her parents' home. And she has strong ties to the community, including 2 very young children. All poppycock. She was about to run, and it would have endangered her parents' ability to keep their home, but she didn't care. She wanted to stay out of a prison. Even though, look, she's not going to a state prison. I don't want to spend any time in any prison. So she is headed off to prison. As the Post reported, Holmes' lawyers had cited the recent birth of her second child as evidence that she was not a flight risk. Holmes had been visibly pregnant during a failed earlier bid to throw out her conviction last year. Holmes' stunning fall from grace occurred after reports revealed that Theranos' machines could not perform many of the functions that she claimed. At one point, the medical tech startup drew a whopping $90 billion valuation. And it's all over now. So that concludes the story of Elizabeth Holmes. We'll see her in a decade or so. Really tragic for the people who believed in that technology, for the investors who lost money in it, and now for her kids. Okay. What a tangled web we weave. All right. So look, guys, it is important that, again, we go back, use the situation with the IRS. You got to walk a straight line with those folks. And look, we just did a report talking about how the IRS, they've got their sights set on everything. And they're doing something very, very peculiar in terms of beefing up their ability to aggressively enforce the tax code. And when I say aggressively, that's exactly what I mean. Watch that report to find out more. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.